Hello and welcome. This is Mouse Gunner, and I have a brand new game for my channel, and that is Rebel Galaxy. Now, I heard about this game because if you've seen my channel, I have a series I call Games I Used to Enjoy, and in that series I covered a game called Freelancer. And I heard some things about this game and that it was influenced by Freelancer and other games of that type. And that got me interested, so I wanted to see what this game was all about. And this is going to be more or less a first impression video. Now, I have hopped into the game and seen a little bit about, what it's about. But let's go ahead and jump in and see what we've got. And we're going to go in the very beginning of the game and get a dose of the story and a feel for the atmosphere of the game. So I'm going to start up a new game here.
"6 days ago, you received a cryptic message from your Aunt Juno, the family black sheep who you haven't seen or heard from in over 10 years. The message provided the access codes to the Rasputin, a near-derelict spacecraft and a relic of her younger days. Also included were the coordinates to Rust City, an out-of-the-way space station with a questionable reputation. She practically begged you to meet her there as quickly as possible. Now, after several days of travel and a few unscheduled maintenance stops, you have at last arrived. This is a place of liars and thieves. You wonder how you let yourself get dragged to such a godforsaken backwater."
Alright, you get a feel for the atmosphere of this game right out the gate. This is going for something very reminiscent of what you got from the television series Firefly, with that kind of Wild West theme mixed with a science fiction story. So let's go ahead and start the story by answering a hail that is coming to us, and you can see that well, I just did it automatically there. Alright, so this is kind of how dialogue works, and they do quite a bit with the presentation and trying to get the an immersive feel for the game. And we have an alien language spoken to us. And it's actually very interesting. If you listen to his dialogue, he actually has interspersed English words with his make-believe alien language that really make it sound authentic. Not just like a bunch of gobbledygook gibberish. But in any case, he says, "Ah, there you are. Your aunt asked me to keep an eye out for you. I see you found her old ship. Bring it in a dock and meet me at the bar. I have something for you." Alright, so now as far as the controls go for this game, yes, I can select these with my mouse, but I found that sometimes doing that is not really the best idea because it's not very precise. Yes, you can point at something and click it with the left mouse button, but I've often found, like for instance, I'm trying to click on "Who are you?" But if I left mouse button here, it probably would say "You know my aunt" instead. So it's not very precise. So I found the keyboard controls work a little bit better. W and S keys are going to cycle up and down through the selections, and the E, as it says there, E, select response, or the Enter key will select whatever you want to say. So I'm going to say "You know my aunt." "I see. Well, I guess I'll see you after I dock." And I'm not going to read the rest of the dialogue. If you guys want to read that on your own, I'm going to let the dialogue play, so I think that'll give you plenty of opportunity to read what he's saying. Now, this is going through the tutorial of how you steer your craft around, and I'll go over that in a little bit more detail later. But for now, all we're going to do is we're going to dock to the station, which is what they want me to do. So I'm going to get close, and when I get close enough, I can dock with the station here. There we go. Alright, and it's telling me right here, just kind of giving me some information about my ship and the fact that I probably should mount a little bit more weaponry on it because it's undergunned at the moment. Alright, so we have a little exclamation point here at Visit the Bar because we need to go speak to that guy that we just spoke to in the message in person. But there's a number of other things you can do at any space dock, but we'll look at that stuff a little bit later. So we'll visit the bar and progress the story.
Mando cambiso giunno, Sandoco paldo,
So where is my aunt? She was supposed to meet me here.
ando jetei, Rando vondur, Jando botondo cando sei,
Why do you say that?
Bando vosotondo, Jando bocal, Rando zavara,
What is it? Maybe it'll let me know how to find her.
Ando sei, Jambondo specter, Tantaka lando jazunda, Junno bongo capanta, Ram simbota, Watanchapai.
Can I see it?
Rando vei, Jandovo va, Frontoska, Yandobo janda, Dando Rasputin, Ando zopai, Ramkon vojara, Zazamonda,
What do you mean?
Corno bajatenko, Zando joetanda, Rendobo boy, Popkan, Nobojol.
So this is giving you the opportunity to go through the tutorial missions here. So if I say any suggestions, we'll go down that route, which I am going to do here.
Andobo zaldo voshu, Juno bondo zazovonde ye, Ralla, Zonzon gumodochi.
What kind of something?
Ando soskova whiskey in the grella, Manjundabo, Ando zovardo, Argondo chotanda, Rondobo jigobotan,
It's a deal.
Hando, Rando, 500 crate, Hondoya, Bronson coal, Rendovo whiskey book, and a moto lando buoy.
I'm on it. All right. So just like with the Freelancer game, when you're in the bar, you can speak to the bartender. He's going to give you a lot of information about things that are going on. You have a news board that's just going to tell you some events that are going on around the game universe. Now, this is very much an open world space sim. So what you got from games like Freelancers is going to be very similar to what we're getting here, but it's still kind of on the simplistic side as well. And that's a lot of the element of the game is it's a space sim, but a lot of people are daunted by space sims because they're usually very complex. But I'll show you as we get through to the actual gameplay of the game. It's not all that complex. They've done a pretty decent job of simplifying it. I'm not going to say it's necessarily an elegant system. It has a little rough edges here and there, but it is very simplistic, and I think that even if you're not usually a fan of these space sims because of that complexity of having to fly around in space, that this is a very approachable game. In any case, let's go ahead and see what the bartender has to say.
Take a seat, friend. What's on your mind?
And as you can see, a large part of this game is voice acted. So if we say, what's the news around the system?
I've been seeing more and more bounty hunters in my bar. That usually means war's coming.
So in that instance, you have a fully voice acted response. But some of the responses, like for instance, hear anything about the local market, part of it's going to be voice acted and then the actual information isn't, because this is going to be an always fluctuating thing. The markets are going to change, so this information is going to change. So they can't voice act everything.
Well, now that you mention it, I did hear about something.
So he stops at something and then you read the rest to know what's going on. So that place is selling live organs. Interesting. Way lower than market. So if you go there, you can pick up live organs on the cheap. Whether or not that's a legal item, I don't know. But if you go there, you can buy it on the cheap and then maybe sell it somewhere. And so on. He's just going to have, various information to help you out.
Come on back anytime.
Now, the higher mercenary element is going to be something that I draw assumptions about, because it's not something I've done. At the moment, I can't afford it. As you can see, the amount of currency is kind of, it's red to show that I can't afford that. If we look in the upper left, I have 1,500 credits. This is going to cost close to 1,800 credits. I can't afford that. But my assumption is that if this works similarly to other games of this type, the mercenary is going to be another ship that kind of travels around with me and protects me for a period of time. How long that period of time is, I don't know, and that's something I'm going to have to see a little bit later in the game. And then we have the shipyard where you can buy more ships. So the class of ship that I currently have is the Hammerhead. Now, I know they're calling it the Rasputin. That's the name of the ship. But the actual class is the Hammerhead, which is a corvette. You get some stats about the ship, what its speed is, what its maneuverability is, and the kind of weaponry it can have installed in it. So it has a couple turrets, some broadside ports, and what have you. And then you go on. You have the Mastodon, which is a little bit bigger ship. It still has roughly the same speed maneuverability, although it will give you things in red and green depending on whether or not things are worse or better. So the red is saying that there's a slight drop-off in performance. So my ship is slightly faster, although it does say the same thing, very fast. It must be slightly slower. And then we see with green that we have more weapons ports and bigger hold size, and so on. And now the ships are very expensive, as we can see, and with 1,500 credits, I don't have any hope of buying them just yet. And there's also, I haven't really seen anything that looks like a true trading vehicle that's just going to be all about the cargo and not so much about weapons. I mean, you will get larger and larger cargo holds as you get into larger ships, but I've never seen really anything that is just obviously, well, this is meant for, to have a large cargo hold. Maybe later in the game we'll see more ship designs. I'm hoping we have more designs than just this, but it might depend on what parts of space I'm in and what have you. Again, I'm very new to the game, so we'll have to see how that works. Now, commodities market I haven't really looked at yet, but I'm going to assume that this is going to be where you can buy all of the different goods that exist in the game, and then you can go and sell it somewhere else. So I'm going to assume that green are good prices and red are bad prices, but according to this, the price is still above the system average. Maybe red is actually a good thing for us. It's kind of hard to say. Because the system average is 2,820, but the price here is much lower than that. So maybe red is a good thing. It's kind of hard to tell. I haven't done much with the goods here, so I don't really know exactly how this works. Maybe that's something we're going to have to delve down a little bit later. And I kind of skipped over that, but we can see that there's only certain things that they actually have, and the supply that they have is very much limited. So that's kind of interesting to see. And we don't know what the sell price is, though. That's kind of interesting as well. All right. Any case, let's go back. We have a mission board, which we'll look at later. We already went to the bar. And the last thing that we haven't looked at is the equipment bay. And we're actually going to purchase something here. So you have weapons defense components. And we'll probably get into these different elements a little bit later. But if we go to weapons, we have a bunch of different types of weapons. Now we have ordnance. My ship doesn't have any slots for that. So I have no launchers available. Can't put anything on. I have my broadsides, which is just a Mark I pulse cannon. The weapon systems you start with are very basic and very cheap. As you can see, only 400 credits for this. And the next step up is 24,000 credits, which is, again, way out of our price range. But if we go down to secondary, again, we don't have anything installed, but we actually do have slots for this, so we could install it if we wanted to. But again, out of our price range a little bit at the moment. And we have our current turret. And we have two possible turrets, as you saw when we were at the shipyard. So there's the alpha turret and the beta turret. And right now we have a Mark I scatter turret. But again, we can't afford the next upgrade. But we don't have anything installed in our beta turret, which is what that message when I first got into the ship, into the dock yard, was telling me that I should probably install one. So it's going to cost me 750 credits. I can afford that, so I might as well buy one, increase that firepower. And let's go ahead and install that. See, this is where the precision is a little bit. I had my mouse cursor over that, and at first it wasn't really selecting it. And there we go. So now we have that turret installed. We can see that it's there. On our ship, just below the front of our ship right here. It even has it highlighted. On our ship where that system is. All right. And then you will have defense. So there's hull, which is what kind of plating you have. You have shields. And then you have deflectors. Now, this might be confusing, shields and deflectors. The deflector kind of works as a period of time that it's going to absorb the damage, but it only works for the certain duration. So it kind of gives you some timers here. So this is how much damage it can take, 225, and how long it will stay up. So about 20 seconds, and then how long of a cooldown you have before you can use it again. And usually the more you upgrade the systems, the longer they can last, and the more damage they absorb, so on. You kind of have similar mechanics with the shields, so how long the shields take to recharge and how much damage they can take. And that time will go down, and the amount they can take will go up as you upgrade them. All right. And then you have components, and there's going to be a whole slew of components here. So you have engines, the booster, which is kind of a like afterburner on a jet. It's going to give you a little bit of boost for a period of time. And then you have your warp drive, cargo hold, different upgrades you can have, tractor beams, which we currently don't have, as he described when we were talking to the guy in the bar. And then we have jump drive, which we also don't have, and a number of subsystems that you can have that will modify different aspects of your ship or add more functionality on. Now, on the face of things, it looks complex, but once we get into the actual controls here, it's not all that complex. So let's go to Depart Station, and let's go over to the controls themselves. All right, so right now it's telling us, how the map works and how we can find our missions. So the map is in the lower left. Right now, we want to head towards the gold marker that we see right in front of us. Now, the A and D key are going to rotate our craft around. And the Q and E keys are going to change our speed. So Q is slow down, which we can't do right now. As you can see at the upper right, it says stop near the Q key. So there's no more we can do with the Q key. But if we hit the E key, we'll start to speed up. And you see in the upper right, as we speed up, there's different stages of speed. So we have 4 different stages. So as we increase our speed to maximum, now we're going full speed. Now, if we hit the W key and hold it, we'll get our booster, and you can see that orange bar is starting to deplete. And that's how the booster works. So you get a little bit of burst speed. Once you're further away from objects, you'll go into what they call sublight in the game, which is a little bit faster speed. They kind of slow you down when you're closer to objects, so you can kind of avert collisions. Once we're away from objects, we can engage our warp. So we just hold that the E key in, and now we're in warp drive. Now this is really going to speed us along very quickly. Now the game will disengage the warp automatically once you get close to an object, so you don't collide with it. But you can also exit the warp manually. I oftentimes do that just because it makes me nervous when we get so close to an object. But we'll go ahead and let's see how the system does itself. And we can see other craft kind of zip by us. That's kind of where you'd have to be quick with your reflexes to get out of warp so that you can see what's going on there. All right, so right now it's telling us how to use the scanning in the game to kind of figure out what objects are going on. Now, the one thing, if I haven't explained it, there's no up and down control. This is very much on a flat plane. Even though we're in space, it controls like an ocean-going vessel would, like a sailing ship. So that's what I'm talking about when I say that this is much more simplified. You don't have to really worry about the 360 degrees of movement. Now, enemy vessels can move 360 degrees, and we'll get into that maybe a little bit later in the video. And there we go out of the warp automatically.
Safe travel.
All right.
Hey there. Orzu send you? You got my payment?
All right, so we have a number of options here. We can just take it from them if we really wanted to. But I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to pay the credits and be done with the mission.
Pleasure doing business with you.
This is a very simple mission. This is just kind of getting you into the game.
Mission complete.
All right, now that we've done that, let's go ahead and do the pulse mode here. So we kind of have a wheel of different things we can do, and pulse is one of our choices. And this is me holding down the control key to do this. And there's the pulse. Now, as it explained in the video, it's going to highlight with these diamonds different objects that are around me. So gray are, if I remember correctly, mineable resources. Purple is just resources we can pick up, but I don't think we have a tractor beam yet, so we can't really do that. Blue diamonds are going to be friendlies, or things that are friendly at the moment. And red diamonds are going to be hostiles. Alright, so let's go ahead and go back to the station. So I'm just going to speed right on out. Now, what I was saying, as far as the way the game controls, for me, it's kind of a little bit of a learning curve to it, because the controls are simple, but they're also awkward for me. Just trying to remember, Q and E is how I slow down or speed up. It's a little bit weird because, when I'm doing WASD, I expect W and S to do that. Now, I may be able to rebind keys. I haven't actually tried that. Let's actually slow down here and see if we have any key rebinding options. So if we go to settings... Oh, wait, key mapping is probably what I want. Control mapping. So that might be something that I want to do myself, is change the controls from being Q and E to speed up and slow down to W and S to do that, because it's actually really confusing to me to have it like it is. Oops. I'm accidentally selecting a bunch of things that I don't want to do. I was reset it to defaults with the R key. All right. This is what I'm talking about when I say the mouse controls are not precise, because I'm trying to hit this arrow here, but I accidentally hit the remap control button. All right, so let's see what we've got. So what does the S key do? It does brakes. So I mean, that kind of is what I want, but it probably would be easier for me if I remap the controls. I'm not going to do that now, but it's just a little bit awkward to me, and that just might be my own personal preferences. All right, so let's speed back up here. And then engage our warp. And go back to the station. Now, as I said, it's kind of disconcerting to me how close you get before the warp drive cuts out. And you will not stop when the warp drive cuts out. So you will have to be mindful to turn off your engines and not just collide into objects. Which we're about to do any second. See how close we got? That's really disconcerting for me.
Mission
All right.
complete.
Docking. All right, so we got some money for that. And we're now going to go to the bar and progress a little bit more into the story here, because we'll get to see some combat, which is, I think, how I should probably end the video.
Senso, andozo toyo potara, und trankten, zandoboji no tronta, und jitunen Rasputin.
I'm going to take the tractor beam because I like the idea of being able to pick items up. I don't know how to do that yet, but we'll find out. And we can always buy a deflector on our own.
Valume, ondozo to push navra Rasputin.
So about my aunt.
Jandoze, mando koboshe, ondo kakwain kopa.
Well, tell me about it, I suppose.
Ando simplo, romoton, gandozo con, ando boji mundu, ondo bojola.
All right, I guess I can do that.
Dente, vendo kukan, antuyom boy, randoshelkate, tombaba.
I'll be back shortly. Okay, so now we just go back and we're going to go to the equipment bay here. And we're going to go to defense because we don't have a deflector installed. And we'll buy one because now we have a little bit of credits and it only costs 4,500. And yes. All right. So now that that's done, let's go ahead and exit and get going with the next mission. All right, with combat, I guess I should explain it a little bit before I do it.
engine.
Now you have a couple different weapon systems. Right now I'm set up on the broadside weapon. So my weapon selections are over in the lower right of the screen. Right now I'm set up on broadsides, which is the red. If I hit the 3 on the number key, now I'm on the turrets. So with the broadsides, and again, you're going to have to think of old-time sailing ships. So you're getting a broadside out, and there's only limited traverse here before I have to start turning the vessel. And I'm holding in the right mouse button to kind of aim there and focus my fire. And then when I left mouse button, we fire off the broadsides. Now you're going to have to kind of take into account the momentum of your ship as well as the momentum of the enemy ship. Now if I go into turret mode, I'm aiming on the turret. Now the turrets will auto lock in if you're aimed at a target, but I just hold in the left mouse button and we get the fire of the 2 turrets. Now as it says here, while you're not in combat, it suggests that you're in broadside mode because the camera works a little bit better for just normal flight. Alright, with all that said, let's go ahead and get into the warp. Get our warp drive going. And hopefully we don't collide with the ship. Yeah.
Collision warning.
Gotta watch out here. It stopped me because I was about to collide with those guys. We're going to get away from them a little bit so we can engage the warp drive. I mean, I might have been able to hail them and see what they were doing, but we'll worry about that another time. Now, if I remember correctly, there are mines in this, so I don't know if I really want to wait for the warp drive to cut out. Oh. But still, we want to get somewhere close because you travel very fast in warp drive, but your normal engines, you don't travel nearly as fast. And SM, whatever that is very far away. See, I'm 30 away. This is going to take me quite a while, even at max speed, to get to. So I might as well get back into the warp and maybe come out when I'm much closer, maybe around 15 or 10. But as you can see, all right, we got a Dispress beacon. All right, so let's go ahead and pulse here, see what's going on. All right, so we got some question marks, and then there's a red, which is an enemy. All right, let's slow down here.
Full stop.
Now, if I remember correctly, there is mines in the area, so I'm going to have to be careful here. I don't know what that red is. All right, that's a distress signal, and it's quite a bit a ways. And what I want is those, but I'm a little bit out of range, so let's go ahead and speed up a little bit. But be careful here, because there is, as I said, mines in the area, I believe. Speed up a little bit. It looks like we're a little distance away. Now, it'll tell you when you're looking at something whether or not it's in range of your guns. So we're starting to get close. So I'm going to focus my broadside here. And we got it. And then I'm going to switch to the turret. And we can see how it's auto-aiming here. So as long as I keep the camera pointed at it, it will continue to aim. And those are the turrets. And it will turn red like that once you've got acquisition. So maybe you have but I'm out of range. As you can see, it says out of range. I guess we have a little bit of randomization because the first time I played this just to see how the game worked, I had mines in this area, but I'm not seeing any of them. There we go. Got that taken care of. Let's go back into broadside mode.
Enemy craft inbound.
All right, so this we have enemy coming.
Broadsides.
All right, so let's turn about here. And there's the craft coming in. Fast. He's out of range at the moment. Ooh, I got to be careful here. Fire. Got him. All right, I'm going to switch to the turrets and take out the fighters. Now you can see the fighters can kind of move around 360, and they can fly under you and over you, as you can see there. And there they go. There's one down. And we can see kind of my shields blinking there as I'm taking damage. Ah. I think I want to use mostly my broadsides on the big ship. Alright, I'm switching to broadsides.
Broadsides.
I think I've got his side shield down. Doing some good damage. I think the turrets auto-fire if you're on broadside mode. As we can kind of see there. I think I want to kind of close the distance with him as he's running away. So,
Engines at maximum.
gonna boost here. Close the distance.
Satellite boosters depleted.
Alright. Looks like we're doing good damage on him. I think I have the shield down now. Alright, now I'm kind of hitting his back
Mission
shield.
complete.
Alright. Ooh.
Full stop.
Alright, let's see. How do we, oh, E. Suck that in. Oh, I gotta hold it. There we go. We tractored it in. So, it's a good thing that we got the tractor. Now I figured out how that works.
Accelerating to sublight.
Alright. Let's see here.
Full stop.
Is there anything else in the area?
Bounty detected.
Alright, I'm not sure what that bounty thing is about. But I think we're just going to go back to base and call it an end to the video here. So, we'll see the conclusion of this mission.
Accelerating to sublight. Engines at maximum.
So that was a good look at the combat there and the different things you can do. So turrets focus on the fighters predominantly, and then your broadsides are going to be more for the bigger ships. And the bigger ship's going to maneuver very much like your ship, kind of on a flat plane, but the fighters can kind of go above you and below you and what have you. Alright. And it's giving me a message there that my ship will automatically leave the warp. But as I said, I find it very disconcerting to get out of the warp so close.
Exiting sublight.
Alright, and we just need to fly by here, look at the docking station. And there we go.
Docking.
Okay, so we can turn that in.
Mansoto Shenda and the June Dojui. Randomo say,
Okay, favor's done. Now it's time for you to hold up your end.
na Randomo Shenda Juno and Sandare Partno.
Partner?
When Dondo so pale on no bojam antivo.
No, she was a hell of a trader and made a lot of money out here on the frontier.
Zendo say, na mundo zutu smuglan, un sandar, mondo shi, undo scamba, ando shotento, ando jaka.
Thanks, I'll check it out. And that's pretty much it for the beginning parts of the mission. Now, the only thing I really haven't covered so far is the mission board. And all you do for that is you go and you look at your available missions. And they will have this divided up based on its difficulty. So white is going to be average risk. Orange is starting to get into higher risk. Green's going to be lower. Blue's going to be very low. And this is going to be the kind of missions where you're just... you have some kind of cargo that you just take to another space station. You drop it off. You get the money. And... that's it. Gives you an idea of where you're going and the distance. And before I exit out, I'm going to show you the map as well, just so you get an idea of what the overall playing field is. And if you go to mission log, this is where you can look at the missions you have selected at the moment. So if I go to available missions, and I take the simple metallic ore delivery, and I accept that. When I go back to the mission log, you'll see both missions, and I can select which one is my primary. Now, let's go ahead and do that. Then we'll kind of see how that works. We'll depart the station. All right, so the mission that I currently have selected is over there. I think if you look at it, it will actually tell you what it is. So this is the story mission, which is why it has the kind of the exclamation point or the little marker in the middle of the diamond. Yeah, it is an exclamation point. And if we look over there, this is the active mission, which is the delivery mission. Now, they're in different directions, but you can see where both missions are, and that's kind of nice to have. But if we go to our wheel, you have the map selectable. And this is the star system we're in right now. And the mission that we have currently selected is here. Now, I believe there are other star systems which you're going to possibly need to use the jump drives to access. At least that's my assumption. But again, I'm very new to the game, so maybe that's not true. Maybe this is all we have to of an area to play in. But we can see a lot of the different locations. So we're at Rust City. Here's another station, and you can see all the different stations that exist in this system. Yeah, here's a jump gate. Yeah, okay, I thought so. I thought there were jump gates, and I assumed that the jump gates is how you go to another system. I wonder what happens if we click on that. Oh, it probably just sets a waypoint. Probably want to select a waypoint on... Huh, I don't know how you get rid of waypoints, but that's okay. Doesn't matter. In any case, I hope you guys have enjoyed this first look at Rebel Galaxy. It seems like a very interesting game, and once I get more used to it, I think it will be a lot of fun. But yeah, it's very interesting. It's kind of a blending of the atmosphere you get from Firefly with a kind of simplified open-world space sim. So, as I said, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. This is Mouse Gunner, signing out.